Hello and welcome to my home office of sorts, if you will. And so this is going to be a vlog with some updates and whatnot. So I thought we'd start it off here. And so this is where I've been editing most of my videos. I usually have my laptop up here. I have it plugged in and everything so I can have the dual screens and whatnot. And it works out really well, just being able to have the two screens there. It's really cool. And it's great for editing because I can have such a large display there and then have something else going on the smaller display. So that's really nice. I recently upgraded the RAM in my laptop from 6 gigabytes to 8. I was going to go higher, but the processor will only recognize up to 8, so that's kind of where I stopped with that. So then we've also got the IKEA desk over there, which is a huge mess right now, but I've just got some model cars and whatnot on here, just kind of displayed in the little cubbies, as you can see. So some of these I built, some of these my dad built. Some of them are just kind of falling apart, and then there's a couple that aren't even completed yet. So it's just kind of a weird hodgepodge. But so far, I kind of like it up here. Got some pickup trucks, Mustangs, a little bit of everything really. And then while we're up here talking about some technology with the video editing and whatnot, I also bought a different phone recently. So I had the first generation Moto X. That was introduced in 2013, so it's quite aged, I suppose you could say. It's a little bit antiquated in terms of what's out right now. So I got the Galaxy S6 here, and I actually went for the white one, as you can see. I've never really been a huge fan of the black that they offer on the Galaxy phones. It just has that bluish tint to it, and I think it looks kind of cheap. And I wanted something different, so I went with the white. And this thing is thin and very slippery. So I actually bought a case for it, and this is the first phone I've ever bought a case for. It's an oblique case, and it had some good reviews online, so I thought I'd check it out. And so far I like it. Some of the cases that they were offering at the Verizon store were crazy expensive. I bought it a couple days ago, and the salesperson there tried to sell me just like a simple gel case with like a plastic casing around the side of the phone for $39. And so I got this online for 15 bucks, and it's much more robust than the gel case the Verizon store was offering for over twice the price. So I'm glad I went with this one. And so far I really like it, and it's a huge step up from the Moto X. So I like it a lot so far. So for the rest of this update video, let's go ahead and get in the car, and we'll go for a drive and talk about some things that have changed on the channel and with the vehicles. Alright, here we are in the SI, so we'll go ahead and take it out for a drive. So first things first, and I want to talk about the CR-V. So it now has about 108,000 miles on it, and it's been running great. So at about 105, we did a transmission fluid change, and on Hondas you don't really flush the transmission. That's not a service that you're really supposed to do on those, because Honda automatic transmissions are very unique in the business. They have a layout inside that's much like a manual transmission, and they just require a different service than a normal automatic. So it's just a simple drain and fill procedure, and that drains about half the fluid out of the transmission. And so we put in somewhere between 3 and 3.5 quarts after we drained it, and so it's been running great. The first to second gear change is still a little bit on the hard side, but it's much better than it was before, and the down changes are much smoother than before. So that's been working great. And we also changed the oil a couple weekends ago, and I am surprised at how expensive oil gets the thinner you go. So in the Civic, I typically use Mobile 1 Advanced Fuel Economy, and it requires 0 W20. So a 5 quart container of that is usually about $26 to $27 if I can get it on sale. And the 5W20 that we used in the CR-V was only 18 bucks, and it wasn't even on sale or anything. It's Castrol synthetic, and it's called Magnatech, so it's got like these little magnetic particles in there that pick up deposits from the engine. So in my opinion, that seems like a much better oil than the Mobile One advanced fuel economy, but since it's quite a bit thinner, it's quite a bit cheaper as well. So I was just kind of surprised by that. But everything's been going great with the CR-V, and it's just been running really well for the mileage that it has. So that's awesome. And here in the Civic, nothing's really changed a whole lot. There's these chrome frets on the dashboard between the radio and the climate. There's one on the other side of the steering wheel too. And I painted those red. I sprayed them with some Plastidip, so if I ever don't like it, I can just peel it right off. And I sprayed some clear coat over it too, to give it kind of a glossy look. And I really like it. It doesn't look cheap or tacky or anything. I like it a lot. And I also have 41,300 miles on it now. So I recently took it on a road trip. I actually got married last weekend, and so we went on a honeymoon in this car and put almost 1,700 miles on it, and it was great. Much more comfortable than I was really expecting it to be. It was just a great car. The one thing I didn't like was the range was terrible. So if you're cruising along on the highway, if you're going any faster than 75, you absolutely will not get 300 miles to a tank. If you're going 75 or slower and you stretch it to the absolute max that you can, you might be able to get 300 to a tank, but otherwise you're just going to struggle to get much more than 270 out of it, which is kind of a pain really when you're traveling such a long distance. But otherwise it was a great car, and so we went to the Honda Heritage Museum on our honeymoon, and it was fantastic. So it's in Marysville, Ohio, and I know there's a huge Honda museum in California. I really want to make it out there someday, but that's a 2-day drive or like a 6 or 7 hour flight, I believe, and I hate flying, so that was just simply not an option this time around. So I definitely want to make it out there sometime. But the museum in Ohio was fantastic. So it's free to get in. I'll post a link in the description if you guys want to go. You just have to sign up on the website, and you can also do the factory tour. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't have a chance to do that, but the museum itself was spectacular. So I'm not going to ruin it a whole lot in case you guys are wanting to go, but I will put a couple pictures up here of what was there. And so once you walk in and check in, there's like this huge engine display in the middle of the museum, and it goes around in a circle, and they have like 7 or 8 different engines and transmissions there, and each one has a little storyboard with it, and so that was really cool. And they have some older vehicles there, and they have some newer vehicles as well. So they also had the Honda Jet, they had Osimo there, and there was also like a machine demonstration thing, and this robot they have, this one robot can assemble materials, weld, and paint up to 24 different colors. So it was really cool, and they had a brief little demonstration of that, and so it was just a great time. And so they have a few different vehicles on display, like I said, and each one has like a little story with it and why it was important, and just kind of what new features that brought to the market at the time. So that was really cool, and I was very, very impressed with the museum. Of course, I wish it would have been bigger, but I'm one of the biggest Honda geeks around, so obviously I just want more of it. But it was very, very good for the size that it was. They had a lot there, and it was just very, very good and very well done. So I was extremely pleased with the Honda Museum. So that was great. Talking a little bit about the channel, I'm doing a sort of vlog right now, and I know I do an update video every few months or whatever, but I plan on doing more vlogs, and so this one is going to be an update video, as you can see, but I plan on doing one of these every once in a while, maybe once or twice a month, and just kind of talk about whatever. So maybe it'll be some car news, maybe it'll be some car event that I went to that I want to talk about, or maybe you guys want me to touch on something relevant, or maybe a topic of discussion. And so if that is the case, just put a comment below, and maybe I will do a video just kind of talking about it. So this is just kind of a point of discussion, I suppose. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out, and I hope that this is kind of the spark of a new kind of video series that I want to do. And on top of that, I put together a couple of car reviews. You guys saw the CR-V video. I know it wasn't as long as I would have liked. There were a couple of things here and there that I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall I was pretty pleased with the way that it came out. And then I also uploaded the BMW 3 Series review, and so I'm trying to work on getting some more reviews out there, and hopefully that'll become something much bigger than what it is now, of course. And also I plan on doing a video of the shift knob that I have in my SI. So I got, as a birthday gift, the shift knob from a 2007 to 2008 Acura TL. And I like this knob a lot better than the stock one that comes in the Civic, because the stock one is very round and it's got a lot of metal on it. So when it's hot, it's hard to grip onto it without burning your fingers, and the shape of it just isn't very comfortable to use. So this one has a lot more leather on it, and I really like that. It's taller, and it just has a much more luxurious feel with all the leather and stuff on it. So I like this knob a lot better than the stock shift knob that comes on this car. And as far as the SI goes, I was planning on keeping this car for a long time, but the more I drive it, the more I kind of want an Acura. So I've been thinking for a while that I want an Acura TL to eventually replace this car, or possibly a TLX if it's that far down the road. And so I decided the other day, well, the Acura dealership has a TL in my price range, and it's blue, it's beautiful. So I thought, you know what, I'll go take a look at it. It was a 2009 TL 3.5 liter tech package, and only had 31,000 miles on it. So it's blue with a black interior, and it was really nice. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. So I'm really glad that I drove it, and I'm kind of looking for one now, casually I suppose you could say, but hopefully I'll make it up to some dealers about 100 miles away next weekend to look at some more TLs and decide if that's for sure what I really want. So far I've only test driven two, the 3.5 and the 3.7, and the 3.7 that I drove had quite a few more miles on it, and the 3.7 just tend to be more expensive, so I'm not sure if I want the 3.5 or the 3.7. There wasn't really a huge performance gain that I could see with the 3.7, but that super handling all-wheel drive was pretty cool. But I think the added weight of all those all-wheel drive components just kind of negated the larger engine. So I would be happy with the 3.5 just fine. The 3.7 was a little bit faster, but for the money and the value that you're getting with the 3.5, I think that would be good enough. So like I said, I'm going to continue test driving some TLs and just see if that's for sure what I want. And so I like the SI, and it's a fabulous car for the money, but after 40,000 miles, I'm just starting to get a little tired of it and a little bored with it. So I'm just kind of casually looking for an Acura TL next. So I think that concludes this update video, and like I said, if there's anything you want to see on the channel or any topics you want me to talk about in future vlogs, just put a comment below, and hope you guys enjoyed watching this video.